All right, chapters 7 and 8. Ezra climbed the stone steps slowly. They were familiar steps, though he had not lived in the house for years. His feet remembered them better than he wanted to. The shallow dip in the third stone, the slight tilt before the landing, the way rain gathered near the rail and waited for a careless shoe. He knocked lightly on the door and waited. "It's in the mailbox," a voice said from somewhere above. "Thank you kindly," Ezra said. He crossed to the box and lifted the lid with 2 fingers, careful not to let it clatter. Some sounds entered the body as sound, others arrived already sharpened into irritation. His hands found the parcel and he lifted it out of the mailbox. It was wrapped in an oversized envelope, too large for whatever it held, too light to be innocent. He pulled it free and closed the lid mindfully. "Have a great day," he called, already turning away. "And you." The window banged shut hard enough to make his shoulders tighten. He took the parcel home and set it down on his kitchen table. He took a seat and felt the envelope, pressing it in to feel what was inside. It felt plastic and square-edged and smooth. He opened the envelope and pulled out the object. The back and sides were smooth, and there was a large button on the top and grating on the front. It felt similar to the talking clock he had beside his bed. When he pressed the button, it would say the time out loud, and he could set the alarm for when he needed to get up in the morning. He pressed the button. The voice was the same as the voice of his bedside clock, a man with a slight British accent, but instead of saying the time, it said 10 more days. The words settled somewhere behind his ribs, not fear exactly, measurement. His remaining life as Ezra had been given a number, spoken aloud in a pleasant voice. He pressed the button again and it said, "Prepared to report findings." He laughed once, softly. Do they think he had forgotten? He sighed and shook his head. What were his findings? In his experience, it was just better to see what they asked about. They knew what interested them about the time period they'd sent him to. All he had to do was immerse himself and let them do the tough mental work. Report my ass, but thanks for the reminder. He picked up the clock and the envelope it had come in and tossed them into the garbage. The plastic struck the bottom with a hollow sound. Where would his team be when he returned? Would they still be on his side? Perhaps they had run away. Perhaps they had already broken their promises. He had trusted them when trust was useful. He was less certain now that the trust was safe. He would know soon enough. Chapter 8. Engel found the clock where Ezra had thrown it away. Poor thing. They lifted it from the garbage with both hands and examined it. Thankfully, it wasn't hurt. Its body remained intact, smooth back, smooth sides, one large button, a grating at the front where the voice lived. The rejection had not entered deeply. It clung only to the surface in a cold, hot film, the way a harsh word could cling to a room after everyone insisted the conversation was over. Engel held the clock closer. It had been discarded, but not ruined. Abandoned, but still complete. They liked that distinction. They left the house with it and carried it somewhere quiet. The sky was pale and undecided. The ground held the smell of recent rain. Engel sat with the clock in their lap and considered the button. A button was a catalyst and a temptation, always. Engel pressed it. 12:14 p.m., 10 more days. The voice was charming, male, slightly formal, as if time were a guest being announced at a door. Engel looked up at the sky. 10 more days until what? The clock did not answer. They pressed the button again. 12:14. Again. 12:14. Again. 12:15 p.m. Engel gasped. It had changed. Only a little, yes. Only a little, yes. The change had happened inside the object, or through it, or with it. Something unseen had moved forward, and the clock had noticed. The clock had been paying attention. How glorious! They turned it over, searching for a wound, a door, an explanation. No alarm had been set. No hidden instruction presented itself. The object was simple and stubborn. It knew what it knew. It said what it could say. 10 more days. Ezra hadn't liked to hear those words. Why? Engel could still feel the shape of his refusal on the clock's surface. The tired anger, the insult, the grief hidden badly beneath both. But Engel did not want to throw the words away. They wanted to keep them. They wanted to hear what happened when 10 became 9 and 9 became 8. They wanted to understand the strange human devotion to measurement. Breakfast at 7, dinner at 6, birthdays once a year, endings counted backwards as if counting could soften them. They wanted for 10 days to stand inside the same narrowing corridor as Ezra and feel time approach with a human name. They should return it. Probably. The thought came and went. Engel held the clock against their chest, though they had no chest in the way Ezra had a chest. Still, the gesture seemed correct. Objects deserve gestures, especially discarded ones. They could remain near. This was allowed, wasn't it? This was allowed, wasn't it? Near was not inside. Watching was not taking. Keeping was not always stealing. Humans kept things all the time for reasons no one interrogated. Receipts, stones, letters, dead flowers, photographs of people who were not there anymore. Engel could keep one clock. They pressed the button again. 12:17. A minute had disappeared while they were thinking. No, not disappeared. Passed. There was a difference. Engel considered setting an alarm. That was one of the clock's purposes. A person chose a future moment and asked the machine to remember it. Wake me, remind me, call me back from sleep, from distraction, from the soft animal drift of being alive. An alarm was a command sent forward through time to a self who had not yet arrived. Beautiful, arrogant, tender, too. Engel wanted very badly to set one. But for what? They did not sleep. They didn't bake. They didn't have appointments or medicine or a morning body to drag upright from blankets. They had no work shift, no dinner reservation, no birthday party, no person waiting with irritation because they were late. Still, the wanting remained. Engel held the clock carefully and listened to the quiet between its announcements. The idea of setting an alarm seemed unbearably appealing. They only had no idea what time to set it for.